Welcome to the Long Run. I'm Joel.
And I'm Christine.
What are we doing today?
We recently shared a podcast where we talked about 7 things that we can no longer afford, or basically that we feel priced out of.
Yep.
And we had a great response to that video. It was so wonderful seeing so many comments of people who were encouraging or letting us know that they understand exactly where we are and that they feel the same way. While we did love getting those comments and that encouragement, we like to be positive here on our channel.
That's right. And so we know that some people are struggling financially and they don't have a lot of options. We have tons of videos on our channel sharing the frugal tips that we've learned over the last 10 years through job losses and things like that. And so if you want to check some of those out, we've got a lot of those here on the channel.
Yeah. However, we know that there are some people who maybe feel a little financially squeezed right now, but they still have options. They're not in a desperate situation. That's where we are. Even though we talked about things that we couldn't afford, there are things that we can afford. Although we do still stand by our list.
Yep, that's right. If you'd like to know what that list is, if you haven't seen it yet, we're going to drop that video link in the description below, and you can go and check that out after you finish this one. But there are some things that we afford on purpose, some things that we value, and that's the one thing we've learned over the last 10, 11 years is that we spend our money on the things that we value, the things that are important to us, and that's how we define what frugal is.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so let's start talking about our list. The first one is going to sound counterproductive to our can't afford list. Our can't afford list said that we couldn't afford all organic, grass-fed, cage-free products and stuff. And what we were mostly talking about was buying everything with the organic name on it, like even in the packaged products and stuff. But we do eat fresh produce. We can't afford that. You know, we would love to have a garden, but we're just not set up to have very much of a garden. We could have a little bit, but not a lot. It would be a very small garden.
Yep.
So we are thankful that we can still afford to buy plenty of fresh produce, all that we want. We don't really struggle to buy it. And yes, some of it is organic. We just make sure that some of it, we do tend to focus some on things that have peels on it and stuff like bananas, because they really don't matter if they're organic. But moving on, our second one is protein sources. We talked about in our list, again, this is going to sound counterintuitive to what we said, but we said we don't buy expensive cuts of meat. We didn't say we don't eat any meat.
Yeah.
We do focus a lot on chicken and ground beef and shrimp, and we get protein sources like that, and then we also fit in other things that are protein sources that may be more on the plant-based side. But our point is that while we don't necessarily get expensive sources of protein, we do still get sources of protein, and we feel like protein and vegetables are two of the most important things that you can possibly be eating for your health and for your energy. So we are grateful that we are able to focus on getting our fresh produce and our protein sources. And just as a note, we have tons of videos where we have shown a lot of tips on how to save money at the grocery store. And so I feel like some of them aren't even being talked about very much, so be sure to check them out. We'll link some of them. We even show some very specific tips on how to meal plan so that it will save you as much money as possible at the grocery store, because saving money at the grocery store begins in your house before you ever leave it. So we will link those down in the description. Be sure to check them out.
That's right. Numbers 3 and 4 kind of go together, and if you know any of my backstory, you know that I'm an avid runner, and so we do spend money, number 3, on races. We do value those things because I like to not only just train for races, I like to run them too. So We try to make sure we spend some money on that. And so we've been to a lot of different races through around the country. We've been to Chicago and Boston and New York City, and we've been to Utah, ran a race in Utah. We've done some here in Florida, a lot in Tennessee. And so, yeah, so we do spend money on races.
Can I just note
Yeah.
that we consider that an investment in his health as well, because
Yep.
those races challenges him to get up and get his exercise and his running in. And so if that helps encourage health, then we think it's worth the money to put it in.
That's right.
It. Yeah.
And if you'd like to see some of my updates on some of my races and things, we moved all of that over to a new channel.
Well, we still have the old videos on here.
Yeah, there's some old videos on here, but we're going to move the new videos over to a new channel called Fit for the Long Run. But you can search here for some videos as well on that called the Nerdy Runner series, to look at all my races and things that I'm doing in that arena. And then to go along with that, number 4 is we do value spending money on shoes. For me, I have probably 2 to 3 pair of running shoes in my arsenal at all times, just because I like a little variety, and I use a different pair of shoes for different things and different workouts. And so I usually have about 3 pairs of running shoes, not to mention the shoes I have for walking around. But usually what I do when I when I retire a pair of running shoes, they become my everyday shoes. And so I have some of those, and I have work shoes, which I don't pay for, but I still have them. And then, some dress shoes that I have as well. So, yeah.
And as a note on that, while we do intentionally afford good pairs of running shoes, that doesn't mean that we don't look for the best deals. Right. And so he has learned a lot of ways, just a tip off the top of my head is he buys last season's shoes, the ones that are like being replaced in the new season, and so they still have some on the shelf. Those are usually discounted, so, and nobody's worn them yet. They're still good.
Yep.
So our next one is going to be coffee and eating out.
Yep.
Yeah, not every day. We don't do that every day, but we do, once or twice a week. I might have a coffee out, which I work from home, so you can imagine how many times that means. I don't have the temptation to get coffee out, but once or twice a week. And then eating out, yes, we do still do that. And I will tell you quickly, one of the reasons why we still do that is because he works in a restaurant. He knows that if everyone decided not to eat out or get coffee out or anything anymore, all the people that worked in that restaurant would lose their jobs. And so because he appreciates people coming into his restaurant, then we, consider it being part of the community and helping our community by actually supporting the restaurants in the community where we live. And that hopefully helps people continue having jobs. I'm not saying that y'all need to do that, but we made a point of putting that in our budget, some money that we're able to use to drink coffee or to eat out and support our community at the same time.
That's right.
And, we enjoy getting out from time to time. And we don't think there's anything wrong with that as long as you're staying within your budget.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Yep. Number 6 is we have decided to live on one income. And that's our choice, is what we decided to do. Chrissy does most of our YouTube editing and things like that. So.
And that's not a full-time.
It's not. Okay. It's a full-time job, just not full-time income.
Yes, it's not a full-time income.
So.
Now, there's some channels obviously that are much larger than ours, and they may be making a full-time income off YouTube. But for us, we've been monetized for 3 years, and we made just about $1,000 in the 3 years. It's basically helped, pay for the laptop I use to edit and a few things like, upgrading my phone so that I have a good quality phone to edit with or to record with. but and the ring light that we're using right now. Other than that, we really haven't made a profit. We've just basically broken even on the amount of expenses.
Yep.
And that's fine. We don't mind doing it. And that's where we're saying is we've been blessed that we've been able to live in a way that he's able to make enough money so that we can live like that. Like if it got extremely seriously, like became a financial struggle to make it, then I would probably have to reconsider what I'm doing. But I am so thankful that I'm able to do it, and I don't have to worry about whether or not I have enough ad revenue coming in. It just, that's a bonus, and like I said, it just basically helps replace equipment when it needs to be replaced. And our final one is vacations.
Yep.
Now, he just mentioned the one about going all around for races. That's one way that we do usually make that into a vacation. So he's running the Boston Marathon. We're gonna go a few extra days after the marathon. We're gonna stay there and make it a vacation. Another thing is our son and daughter-in-law live in Tennessee, and we live in Florida. And they just had their first baby, so now we have another reason to want to go there.
Yep.
But we travel regularly to Tennessee to see them, so we want to make that a priority in our lives. So we value vacations, especially the ones to Tennessee, because we get to see our children.
Yep.
And our grandchild and our granddog and our grandcats. And so we value those trips. And so we are so fortunate and blessed that we know we can make it a pretty frugal trip when we do the Tennessee one, because we stay in their house when we're there.
Yep.
But it's important to us that we can do those.
That's right.
Yeah.
It is our opinion that not everyone, but some people who might be feeling a financial squeeze choose to pull back in some areas and kind of focus on what they value the most. And that's what we try to encourage people to do, is find out what's important to you and focus your money on those things. Many people assume that frugal people refuse to spend any money ever. But the truth is that frugal people choose to spend the money on the things that's important to them.
So how about you? What do you afford on purpose?
That's right. Drop us those comments below. We'd love to hear that. Yeah, if you haven't already, give us a big like, thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. And as we said, drop us those comments below. Check out the videos that we're going to have in the description box below as well. But I think that's going to do it today. We're going to put a video up right here that you can click. After we say the thing we always say, that's going to do it today. For the long run, I'm Joel.
And I'm Christine.
Don't forget the long run. Give yourself a little grace.
Bye.